Hello ladies and gents, I am Diffin, and welcome back to From the Depths, Ashes of the Empire Community Edition. So in this episode I am essentially only going to be spawning in a couple of new blueprints. Firstly, it's going to be a new spy satellite by Richard Dastardly. This is because I need one a little bit faster, and which can basically cover a large amount of area, and this will hopefully be able to do just that for me, which will be very nice, and hopefully it's nice and quick, because if I'm able to do that, then I can get rid of all of the satellites on the back line and allow me just to keep the ones at the front line, which will hopefully make the game a little bit more stable by not having to cope with so many vehicles. The other blueprint design is the Red Hammer series by Chrome Empyrean Ray. This is going to be the backbone of the new 4th Combat Force. It's going to be the Response Force. And this force will also contain a number of designs from other combat forces. And as you can see, this is a very expensive design, but that is because it is a spawn stick design. We have a very large number of vehicles here. All some absolutely fantastic looking tanks. So we start off with a fairly small tank here, the T-55A, and then we move on to all this, the T-62, the T-62N, T-64, T-72, another T-72, T-80, and a T-90. So these all have some rather fantastic guns and amazing aesthetics, as well as a lot of features such as like these smoke launchers being in more realistic positions and angled, and then also having ammo intakes making it look much more like true smoke. Then we have features on the front like sandbags with the ERA, and also slightly angled components, which also makes them look a lot more realistic and acting as actual defences from forward explosions. And I'm sure they will act quite well as an actual defence as well. I know these designs have been configured pretty well, with a lot of care and attention been taken to the APS weaponry to make sure to have some very powerful, potent weapons around. For example, there is a lot of accuracy, and that's been taken into account. So there's various things. We have like the sabot and stabilizer fins. So accuracy and speed has been taken into account on a lot of these to ensure they hit their target a lot more readily. Because if you don't hit your target, then there's not much point having powerful munitions. So we'll send this against Steel Empire. We'll actually send it against something, the Relentless. So a big design, and we'll see how they all perform. So they're all going to smash into the spawn stick. So I'll just scrap the spawn stick, get rid of that. No, that didn't work. Okay, let's try that again. This time, not have to worry about them despawning. So you see they have very fast, rapid shells there. But they are fairly weak individually, it seems. But I suppose this is the Relentless. The Relentless is, well, it's in the name. Looks like they don't have many getting off. It doesn't seem that they have very much in the way of fuses, so let's just destroy it all again and send them against some Onyx Watching, where the shielding is not so much of a problem. Won't send it against. Let's just send it against the Bison and Lucine. The high resilience here, it seems, that's taken a lot of cram shots due to this full bombardment, and it's still just about surviving. It didn't survive that, but there we go. It did take a huge number of cram hits then. They're doing a decent amount of damage, but again, against these Onyx Watchcraft, they are having a little bit of difficulty. More than I was expecting, in fact. I suppose I have just sent them against quite a significant portion of Onyx Watch. And it didn't help that loads of designs did crash initially. Still, the damage is doing well, and they are eventually, looks like they might actually win. Though, what's the, yeah. I think the amount of Onyx Watch force they are facing off is actually more than their cost, because although they do cost, you know, over 100k, a fair amount of that is actually this spawn stick. It's not a cheap spawn stick by any stretch of the imagination. I was kind of hoping that they'd have been able to defeat this Onyx Watch, but still, they are doing well, and they are actually still alive. They haven't been defeated. They've been defeated in terms of combat strength, but they are still surviving around. And so I do consider that they will be good for the actual campaign proper, because I need them as the basics of a new force, and not necessarily able to hold a combat force all on their own, because they will have supporting craft, which I will draw from the existing combat forces. So I'm going to spawn the new force down in this area. So the pack of 8 designs there, to start spawning them all in. Got working mind there being taken apart. Now I do need to start taking some designs out of these here. Okay, so I'm going to take the pre-war Zakis and Zeikos, and they're going to scrap all of these, and then these will move over to that new force there. And from the Steel Empire force, got to begin this battle and clear that off. Right. Then from the Steel Empire force, going to take the Flying Doctor, the Mark 10 Particle Accelerator, and the Scrap Panther. And together they are going to move forwards to join up with the Russian War Pack as well. And then there will be some designs from the Twin Guard force. Then from the Twin Guard force, going to send the Predator Annihilator and the Dazzleworm. They are going to move over to here as well. And the hopes is that together they will create a reasonable combat force. And also I have several of these spy satellites to repair up as well. But before we do go into that, we actually have this combat over here, facing off against both the Onyx Watch and the Twin Guards. So I'm going to try and set my forces up in such a way that I can take on both forces. Right, so we have quite a few of the Onyx Watch vehicles here. A few are going to go flying into the sky. It's mainly these ones here. Then I have my forces set up to roughly take them on here. Dedicated a fair portion of my forces to do that. But also I have actually dedicated a fair number of forces to take on the Twin Guard as well. Because although they only have a few components, if left unchecked, they can be really quite powerful. And so I want to be able to disable them quickly and then move the rest. Then the forces can then move on to take out the rest of the Onyx Watch. But let us begin the battle now. Yes, indeed. Let us begin the bout. So straight away I'm just looking around to see where the main combat is occurring, and it seems that the Onyx Watch are all firing at this poor tank here. I believe that is the 2280. And thankfully the majority of the shots do fall short. And in turn they're getting bombarded by a massive array of very, very long missiles and a good number of laser beams. As you can see there, one of the laser hovers going around and also shooting our own tank in the back. The poor thing taking the brunt of all the damage from the Onyx Watch and our own forces. Still, let's heading over to the Twin Guard, seeing how that battle is going. It looks like they are also getting bombarded by the Onyx Watch, which is odd. I thought they were allied, but I'm probably forgetting something. Still, they're firing their lasers, and two also look like they're disabled already. One, the top plate has already been destroyed, and the other one looks like it is pretty heavily damaged, leaving only the one remaining for the rest of our forces to deal with it, though a load of them are crashing into each other and causing a large amount of repairs, as is par for the course with this force. Just scouting around, seeing where the rest of the Onyx Watch are, and they have kind of integrated quite heavily within our forces. So I've just noticed that the 2280 is pretty heavily damaged, though thankfully because it's so heavily damaged it hasn't really garnered much attention from the enemy at this juncture. Still, the Onyx Watch have a lot of guns all around their craft, so they can fire in multiple directions, and they're doing that quite effectively, firing at our vehicles and firing long-distance lobs as well, as I follow some through as they strike at the land ship. The land ship is actually doing very, very well. It normally has a few big holes in it by this point. What I'm surprised is this design from the Twin Guard still hasn't been destroyed, and it's doing a heck of a number on my flak hover there. Just trying to completely annihilate it. It's actually disabled it, and I think I may have vented the shells already, which means it's no longer a combat capable vessel. Just quickly glancing at the Twin Guard forces there, and yeah, the rest of them though are basically dead. So it's just this one design in the middle, and there we go, our poor 2280 there getting shot up again by the laser hovers while they shoot and destroy the Onyx Watch. Just trying to see where all these massive missile arrays coming from, and they all skim past and strike at the wrong targets for the most part, or our own targets, which is not something I really want. Though the land system on that base plate is incredibly potent. It's taking out a huge number of missiles and a few crams here and there, which is quite irritating. The rest of the Twin Guard though is basically dead now, and it's just leaving this base plate, which will be destroyed in a matter of moments. And you can see, I just glanced through, and yeah, its AI is almost uncovered as well. Last few of the Onyx Watch are here, and just looking at how heavily damaged our craft are. And although they're heavily damaged, we haven't really lost that much. Just seeing theirs disintegrating as the 220 does fall down. I think, you know what, let's try and capture something, but then I realise, oh wait, I've got 109k. I don't need to worry about capturing anything at this point in time. So just continue and just let the battle play out to its ultimate conclusion. Well, that was a little bit of a long-winded battle, but I suppose ones where you face multiple targets kind of does that. So let's quickly send the logistics force back, and what did we lose? I think we only lost the one, the 2280, which took the brunt of the Onyx Watch combat force there. It was close run thing to losing some of the other designs, but overall we did succeed, which is all good. So what I'm doing, just because I can do this with all the resources I can scrap, then I can build, that will pick up the resources, and then I can actually just destroy the blueprint. A bit of exploity, but I'm kind of past that point now. But here I want to try and get this force ready to destroy this Onyx Watch, the Steel Empire force. Okay, the battle is now about to begin. So let's pull in the force, and then hopefully these guys can actually get there in time before I lose too much. So I don't actually care about these guys. I should just remove that friendly force from the battle. Excellent. Well, I'll just finish setting everything up and then be on my way. So our forces are basically deployed behind this bit of a hillock. That's going to cause a bit of a problem, as it is a fair bit of distance. The rest of the land is fairly low. That hill is probably going to cause a load of our designs to crash and burn. Still, it should prove the initial shots from the enemy will be ineffective. But let us see how it goes. Equally, it will mean the initial shots from our forces will be ineffective as well, apart from the ones from the particle accelerators, which can just pass straight through land, no problem. Big array of missiles coming from both parties, and not much seems to be doing. Unfortunately, the enemy have all decided to fire at the Warthog. I have no idea why. The Warthog isn't a particularly large design compared to various other ones in our forces, and it really only has 3 weapon systems, so I'm not sure why it's taken such a brunt. I suppose it is the hottest target, so if they do have a lot of infrared sensors, then it would pick up very quickly then. Though I didn't think that mattered when playing on 99% detection, but maybe it does. Maybe it just decides what they focus on. Still, the rest of the designs are now getting into combat, and there is the particle accelerator tank firing quite brutally close in, but it's taking a lot of shots in return. Now the Warthog has lost its main gun and is no longer a priority target. Load of other designs is lobbing shells at long distance, once dastardly there, and unfortunately I just noticed that the artillery tank has been destroyed. By the looks of it, the culprit, the particle accelerator tank there, the experimental one by Similian, seems to have shot and killed and rammed the poor artillery vehicle. Particle accelerator hover there, having been disabled, looks like it did eventually take a couple of nasty hits, and when hovers like that do take a few nasty hits, it is very, very difficult for them to recover without being pulled out of play. Just how the whole stabilization systems work, they often overcompensate it. It's very difficult for them to pull back, particularly if they can't land in the water, because they keep on continuously bouncing off the land like this and not being able to rotate properly. Still, it's getting repaired, so it won't be destroyed by various collisions, which is all good. And finally, last couple of designs are just eliminated. Right, that battle didn't take that long, though the enemy forces did do a bit of a number on us. So the majority of the damage was dealt towards the Warthog, though it did survive and actually repaired most of itself back up. And then also one of the hovers, the particle accelerated hovers, also took a big brunt of the firepower. Unfortunately, the light artillery was destroyed by one of the particle accelerator experimental tanks, so a bit of a shame, but that does unfortunately happen now and then with those sorts of vehicles. Gotta be careful of this 6th army. In fact, I might spawn in an exploit craft close to home in case it decides that, well, it wants to come and kill me. Jump over here and then spawn in. It's a quite expensive design. It's 25k, but it is a, well, it is basically, it will be able to destroy absolutely anything. And if I just have it, it doesn't always kill everything on its own if it takes on an entire fleet, but one-on-one it will destroy anything instantly. It destroys targets so unbelievably quick. It's really quite amusing. I will have to deploy it at some point just to showcase just how insane it is, though. You need to save the game in case anything does crash in the interim period. Okay, I think we'll take on... Oh, we're going to take this one. I was going to take on the Onyx Watch, but nope. Looks like we have this battle to start with, though. We'll see how it goes, but let's just do a little bit more of the lineup and then we'll enter the battle. Okay, so I've got this bit of a line-up here. It's hopefully going to try and take out the Gladiator and the Centaur fairly quickly. Yeah, the enemy are actually spawning in the water. I might actually try and capture them due to how well a ram bot can maneuver underwater, whereas vehicles can't. Well, some vehicles can, I guess. This is not when they haven't been designed for going in the water. So I placed my designs fairly close by, and immediately the couple of top parts on both of the mechs are completely smashed to pieces. And there goes a couple of the big flak shells from my flak hover to do a good number on them. And now I'm just finding which target I want to do and jump down from and then leap onto them. So I thought, oh, you know, no, let's just jump a little bit closer and wait till I'm right above them so I can launch myself down to try and get the capture. Straight away I can see that the enemy are already too damaged and being sustained by repairs. Absolutely perfect opportunity to capture, because it gives me a long time. Rather than just the 10 seconds, I have a lot of time to capture the base plate, just like that. And it also stops the repair between the two vehicles as well. So now I'm just going straight for the base plate, looking for the AI, just firing away. And I haven't actually captured at this point, I just haven't noticed that, you know, the bright orange glow, that it's mine. Excellent, that was actually fairly simple. Managed to get in close and capture the designs very quickly, which really did help. And I'll carry on advancing to this next tile. Give me a little bit of resources, but not too much, I guess. Let's continue scrapping a couple more of these designs. Right, so the Onyx Watch Force is ready to take on the next target, so I will save the temp file and then get on to that battle. Next 36 hours in this Let's Play. And that's not accounting all the other parts which were broken and redone battles. In fact, I'm getting tons and tons of fuel. Let's scrap a few more of these refineries. Next, by scrapping a load more of the refineries and a load of these radar balloons, I'm back up to 100k. I've had a lot of resources just sitting on the back line. Of course, that resource can no longer be recovered, but there we go. Let's get ready for this battle over here. Right, so we have quite a lot of enemy force here. We've got Rhino, some of the actual mining equipment. Is that another Rhino? Yikes. Oh, what are you? Oxen. Oh yes, because it's a mining facility, so you must be actual fort part. Another tower. Okay, this could... yeah, these rhinos are going to make a right mess. Let's see how they take on, because they're probably all going to fire at that moose again. Fortunately, this time, I have lots of materials to be able to repair damages with. However, there's just a lot of cram shots firing in all directions at our forces. And although I think the bulk of it is being fired against the moose there are so many guns and so many cram shots and various other high explosive weaponry that it is going to be nasty. The moose though did impart a significant amount of damage, blowing off the entire side of the rhino there, but it is now just getting completely hammered by enemy cram fire, and it is unlikely to be able to recover for quite some time. Luckily, though, while it is taking the brunt of the damage, the rest of our forces are encircling the Onyx Watch, getting into better positions to fire their main guns. A large amount of shields there, keeping them heavily protected, despite the fact that cram shells are meant to be fairly good at penetrating shields due to their slow velocity. I don't really find that is the case, especially. For a little bit more bombardment, I thought it was going after the lemurs, but no, it's still more going after the moose, which again means that it is not taking damage from anything else. The various lasers firing across the battlefield, slowly but surely coring their way into the systems. Again, I think, you know what, let's try and catch something, but then, again, I noticed that, wait, I've got 109k, I don't need to worry about that. Let's just observe the battle in all its wonderful explosive glory, rather than from the ground view, which you just can't appreciate the explosions quite in the same way as watching vehicles explode into confetti or just bounce off shells, much like we're watching at the moment with the Bendy Blade. And there we go, huge chunk of blocks gets flown off as it gets hit by a bombardment. Still, the enemy rhinos are holding firm. Looks like they've been mostly disabled, but even mostly disabled rhino is still very potent. The tank there just taking complete oblivious hit from a full barrage hit there, and that gives it a chance to be shot at by Hikari's 18mm fragmentation span, which is slowly but surely churning its way through the hole there, along with a load of our other vehicles. Just more and more designs firing at the oxen there, so that soon we'll be able to capture this new resource site for our forces and allow just an additional general source of materials. Fantastic bombardment there coming in from one of Monk Lizard's planes there. Absolutely fantastic hit, probably one of the better bombing ones I've seen from that craft in action, outside of the training zone mode. And just watching the last couple of designs as they move around, and it looks like the Moose is almost back up and repaired. It fires but does miss, unfortunately, probably because it got hit and just a little bit more destabilised. Fortunately though, that's about it, and the enemy will very soon succumb to confetti destruction. Apart from this design, for some reason it survived a lot longer than everything else. Excellent, that is another location captured, gives a little bit more resources, and we did lose the light infantry fighting vehicle, but considering the output of the amount of cram from a couple of rhinos and the oxen there, that was a very successful battle. Right, now just to get this force moving up, though they currently only got a speed of 3, which is a bit annoying. Which of these? All of them have a very slow speed. Let's pull them out of play for a moment and see how fast. That was a mistake. They all got exploded straight away. And their speed is still slow, so... Right, so the exploit hover is built and ready to go should the needs arise. I'm hoping it won't arise, but it is in this vicinity. Oh, and I got another battle. So actually do the battle and then I'll actually showcase the exploit hover off in the designer view, because I didn't actually showcase it, even though I was planning to deploy it, much like I have done already. Right, battle, it seems like it's a night, or is it just the screen's gone a bit weird? Hopefully it'll clear in the actual battle. Okay, well let's go on. Hopefully it'll get a bit lighter than this. And it does get a little bit lighter, as it is exactly sunrise, just as the battle begins. So as the missiles and all the shots fire out, the sun rises up over the horizon, showing the glory of the missile fire spreading out and striking friend and foe alike. Unfortunately for friends, that is our repair vehicles. For the enemy, yeah, most of the missiles get shot at by lambs. Still, those lambs are now not shooting anything else down, I guess, which, admittedly, the only thing they're really shooting at is the missiles, so, yeah. Anyway, the designs are taking quite a beating there, and despite our vehicles not being particularly well placed, I could have spent a little bit longer in determining their positions, they are doing very nicely here. Blast of particle accelerator shots up into the sky there as it completely downs the, I think that is the Reaper, and then the Basilisk tank dancing around its targets, firing here, there and everywhere. So having a quick look at what's going on with some of the designs there, it looks like the enemy particle accelerator tank has moved right in and is proving a bit of a problem, because as our vehicles miss its targets, they end up hitting our own vehicles, which is worse than I think if it was just firing at us normally. Still, it's now 2 damage, and that leaves essentially just the Reaper design which just got a massive splat by particle accelerator, so that is going to disintegrate soon as well. Excellent, that battle finished without much problem really. Let's get everything repaired up. I want to start clearing out some of these tiles. It's proving a real difficulty, which is why I needed the extra force. But I will end the part here and then just go back into the actual campaign, well, into the designer, and showcase how ridiculously strong that exploit hover is. So here we have the exploit hover. It's essentially, I just designed the, well, upgraded the one I had before and just gave it a lot more barrels and, well, edited them so they do a little bit more damage. Essentially this will just each laser shot will cut directly through, well, anything it shoots at. So there we go, it will just fire and immediately it will just shoot through everything. One problem is it's a little bit weak against missiles because it has no missile defences, so these few missiles which have struck it might actually cause a lot of damage, which is a bit of a pain. Also, I don't think I put any repair. I don't think I put enough repair capabilities on, or did I put any repair capability on it? I put on some. As can be seen, it does a stupid amount of damage almost instantaneously, and it can take out anything that quickly. So, for example, a rhino. Let's see, it's a dumb rhino there. It just instantly shoots straight through the hull, detonating everything it passes through. It's just cutting through heavy armour beams in microseconds. Every shot will be powerful enough to pass end to end through a bulwark, let alone anything from Ashes of the Empire. And just shot it again. I've just paused after one shot, or two shots. You can see straight away it's just cut through all of the beams there and all of the beams there. Immediately there's just nothing left there. Just cut straight through. In fact, it's actually a little bit possibly too accurate. I think the target is already dead. Yep, it looks like it's targeted. Yep, it is AI dead. So it just takes a moment for it to the AI dead absolutely anything. Something like the looks might be able to harm it, but essentially it's actually just missiles being fired instantaneously upon spawn which do it the most harm. Let's see what the looks has to say about it. So the looks has a couple of seconds to actually fire at it before it returns fire, and is AI deaded in its own right. The looks did have a chance. A minuscule chance, but a chance nevertheless. See, the missiles in flight actually do cause it quite a bit of damage. But even so, with those missiles firing, it still killed the Relentless. The target is dead. That's why this is an exploit hover and is my last line of defense should the game actually, because I don't design as possible, even though I think I might win the game before I get to do that. But if that's the case, I'll do something else. But that's it for now. So thank you very much for watching this episode of From the Depths Ashes of the Empire Community Edition with myself and Adifin. If you did enjoy the episode, please leave a like and or comment below, as it is always great to hear from you lot. Otherwise, be sure to check out the rest of my channel for more From the Depths videos and other games, and also be sure to swing by my Discord channel for more direct chatting. Otherwise, that's it for me for now, and I shall see you next time. But until then, I'm out. Goodbye!